Hypixel Bedwars currently has 30 different items in the game, but with so many items, some are bound to be better than others. So in today's video, I'm ranking every single item in Bedwars, from the absolute garbage to the items you should be buying in every game. I am not ranking tools, and I grouped all bows and arrows together. In addition, there will also be a tier list to explain each group of items. Just a reminder that this is just my opinion, and if you have a different list, feel free to comment down below. So without further ado, it's time for the list. This first group of items are the absolute bottom of the barrel. The F tier items. Items that are a complete waste of materials. Items that you should literally never buy. The worst item to buy in Bedwars is number 30. The sponge. Like seriously, what is even the point of this item? It disappears after like 5 seconds and it costs so much to buy. It's supposed to be like a counter to water, but no one even uses water in the first place. Sponges also fill your entire screen with these annoying particles, lagging your entire computer. I seriously don't know a single upside of this item. Comment down below if you know any benefits of using the sponge, because I literally can't think of a single one. Number 29. Hardened clay. Definitely the worst block to use for your bed defense. On paper, it seems pretty good because it forces your opponents to buy a pickaxe, but a wood pickaxe literally mines it in like half a second. If you want your opponents to get a pickaxe, just use a different block that is literally better than it in every single way. I'm not gonna lie, I've seen so many noobs use hardened clay and I physically rage internally whenever I see it. Number 28. The water bucket. This item is supposed to be used for your bed defense to make it harder to mine and to negate explosions, but in reality, it just makes it harder for you to navigate your base, and if someone does try and get your bed, it takes you forever to go through the water to get to them, and they've probably mined your bed by then. Now it's time for the D tier items. In contrast to the F tier items, these items actually have some type of use, but only in super niche scenarios. Number 27. Chainmail armor. While chainmail armor is better than leather, its high cost of 40 iron makes it almost never worth it. It gets completely outclassed by iron armor in pretty much every situation, unless you can't afford iron armor and someone is coming to rush you and you happen to have 40 iron lying around. Number 26. The knockback stick. This item is kind of weird because I've literally never bought this item ever. I know that it's actually pretty good, but I've just never actually seen anyone use this. Sometimes I'll get destroyed by some noob with a knockback stick, but I don't ever buy this item. So this item is actually pretty good, but I've just never used this before, and I don't think anyone really does anyways. Number 25. Bedbug. This is another item that I've pretty much never used, and when I see someone else use it, I know that they're a noob. I don't think I've seen any good player actually use this item. While it can be helpful in some situations, it is overall just not a very good item. Number 24. Pop-up tower. This is very similar to the bedbug. I've basically never bought this item. There are some scenarios in which it could be helpful, like using it to block in super fast if you can't already block in, but overall the pop-up tower is just not a very useful item. Number 23. Ladders. Okay, before you start yelling at me in the comment section, just hear me out. I know ladders are like an S tier item for pros, however, I am not a pro. I barely ever buy ladders, even though I know that pros use it all the time. For me, there are some cases where the ladder is useful, but I don't really buy this item even though I know that it is very good. And that's the end of the D tier items. Now it's time for the C tier. These items either have no downside in a super niche use, or have a slight downside and have a really good use. Starting with number 22. Diamond Sword. This item is super expensive, costing 4 emeralds to buy, but it does hella damage. The major downside to the Diamond Sword is that you lose it when you die. You could spend the entire game saving up for a Diamond Sword just to lose it in like 10 seconds. The only times I really buy a Diamond Sword is when I'm a final and know I'm not going to die during that game. Number 21. Magic Milk. Magic Milk's big upside is that when you drink it, it doesn't set off the opponent's trap. This is actually super useful, but like, how many of you actually knew that this was an item? I feel like nobody actually uses this item. It is relatively cheap and I use it pretty frequently, but it's just not as good as other items on here. Number 20. Dream Defender. The Dream Defender costs so much to buy, like 2 stacks of iron. It's pretty good, but it dies very fast. The main use of this is when you're final and you have so much iron that you don't know what to do with it. The Iron Golem also sees invisible players, which can be very handy. Overall, a pretty solid item. Number 19. Bows, and number 18, arrows. I lumped these two together because you don't buy arrows without a bow. Anyways, bows are quite good. However, if you use them, you will definitely get cyberbullied by the rest of the game and get called annoying or bow spammer. However, they are super annoying, which can be pretty helpful, but only in certain scenarios because of its high cost. Number 17. Diamond Armor. Diamond Armor is very similar to the Diamond Sword, except the main downside of that was that you lose it when you die. Diamond Armor is placed just slightly higher because you keep it when you die, meaning it's a lot more versatile to use and has a lot more longevity. And that's all the C tier items. The B tier items are all items that are pretty decent, but the A and S tier items are just better. The first B tier item is number 16. Bridge Egg. I used to think this item was complete garbage until I watched this one Doer montage, and I noticed that he buys bridge eggs almost every game. Bridge eggs are super useful for getting from base to base, and they also work really well when combined with jump boost. Bridge eggs are overall a very solid item. Number 15. Wood. Wood is kind of a weird block because mining it isn't that much longer than mining wool. However, in most cases, wood forces your opponent into buying an axe, and is a pretty solid block for defending your bed. However, there are some better blocks for defending, like number 14. Glass. Glass is kind of expensive, but is pretty useful in defending your bed. Glass is completely blast proof, so TNT and fireballs won't have any effect on it. It's pretty useful for defending your bed, but it gets mined super fast. It makes it kind of easy for your opponent to block in. So it has a pretty good use, but it is broken pretty easily. All of these problems get solved with number 13. Obsidian. Like glass, it is blast proof, but it takes an absurdly long time to break. However, obsidian comes with the obvious downside of being super expensive, so you can probably only get one layer of it max. However, it is just so heartbreaking when you mine into your opponent's bed, you think you easily have their bed, and then you find out they have obsidian. Obsidian basically forces you into buying a diamond pickaxe. Number 12. Ender Pearls. Ender Pearls are so useful because they basically just give you an extra life. If your opponent knocks you into the void, pearl to save yourself. If your opponent is about to beat you in PvP, pearl away to save yourself. It is also kind of expensive, so you can be pretty sure your opponent won't have a pearl. However, you only really buy pearls if you're a final in solos and duos, and in trios and fours they are basically useless. That was all the B tier items, and now we're moving on to the A tier items. These items are all amazing, and you will probably be buying these items more often than not. Number 11. Iron Sword. The Iron Sword is kind of expensive, but it is super worth it if you can afford it. Iron Swords do so much damage, and if my opponent has one and I don't, I already know I'm losing the fight. They just do so much more damage, but their kind of high cost of 7 gold means that you can't buy it that frequently, and I just can't put it into the top 10. Speaking of the top 10, the first item is number 10. Endstone. This block is definitely the best block for defending your bed, other than wool of course. Endstone has a relatively cheap cost of 24 iron, and it completely forces your opponents to buy a pickaxe. In fact, in trios and fours, I will always buy a pickaxe before leaving the gen, because I know every single team will use Endstone. It's just that good, and the go-to block for defending your bed. Number 9. TNT. TNT is so useful and has a relatively low cost of 4 gold in solos and duos. You can use them to very effectively break bed defenses, you can use them for TNT jumping, and you can use it to break a bridge so your opponent can't follow you. TNT is just so versatile and has so many uses that I often find myself carrying one around and use it when the opportunity presents itself. It is also super easy to use, making it one of the best items in the game. Number 8, Speed Potion, number 7, Jump Potion, and number 6, Invisibility Potion. All 3 of these potions are really useful. Whenever you can't quite get your enemy's bed, the 3 potions are always the go-to items to buy. You can easily get into your opponent's bed defense, especially when combined with Magic Milk, so the enemies really don't know you're there. Not only are the potions good for breaking beds, but they are also super useful for PvP and make it super easy to get a free kill. It's just so hard to hit someone with jump boost, speed, and it's invisible, so you don't even know where they are. Number 5. Golden Apple. Golden Apples have a super low cost, but are so useful. If you ever get low, just pop a Gapple. I pretty much always carry one with me whenever I go mid or something, because if I fight someone on the way to getting a bed, I can just eat a golden apple and I get back to full health. Golden apples are a super cheap and useful item, which puts it in the top 5. Number 4. Fireball. Fireballs are low-key kind of expensive at the beginning of the game, but become increasingly affordable as the game progresses. Fireballs are super versatile, being able to fireball jump and also get free kills by knocking someone off a bridge. Some of you may say that TNT is better, but I strongly disagree because you can use fireballs at a distance while TNT is only close range. Before you comment, stop the glaze on fireballs, no, I'm not a fireball spammer. Speaking of which, you should spam that subscribe button. sorry, I'm not funny. Now are the S tier items. These 3 items are so good that I put them a tier above the rest. These items are what you should literally be buying every single game. Without further ado, number 3. Stone Sword. The Stone Sword is so freaking cheap that you can literally buy it every time you die. Not to mention a Stone Sword does so much more damage than a wood one. At the beginning of a game, I always rush its 26 iron just so that I have enough resources to buy a Stone Sword. It's just that good. Even though the Stone Sword is absolutely goated, there are still 2 items better than it. Number 2. Iron Armor. At the beginning of the game, you should pretty much never spend gold on anything until you have enough to get Iron Armor. Its job is to keep you alive, and it does a really good job of that. The earlier you can get Iron Armor, the faster you can destroy your opponents in PvP. And the main reason why I put this higher than the Stone Sword is because you don't lose Iron Armor when you die. So, once you buy it, you don't need to buy Iron Armor for the rest of the game. However, there's still one item that's better than it. Number 1. Wool. Let's be honest, we all knew wool was gonna be the best item. It's the most essential item to buy every game, and every time I die, I don't even leave my base until I can get at least some wool. Wool is also super versatile because you can use it to bridge, defend your bed, block in, and block your opponent. Wool is definitely the best item in Bedwars. Okay, well guys, that was my list for all the items in Bedwars ranked. Let me know in the comments if you have a different list. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. And if you want to see more like this, don't forget to like the video.